think they'll let us know if we need to
It
start over.
sounds like that, yes.
Yes,
that
okay.
He was just making sure it
Sure.
had started, but that it started
Yes.
recording.
And I believe we want to do a second roll call,
A
now that Commissioner Kirk is.
A roll call,
Yes.
okay.
So, Commissioner Clarkson? Here. Commissioner Miller?
Here.
Commissioner Braun?
Here.
Commissioner Kirk?
Here.
And Commissioner Pelletier?
Here. Okay, so we have a quorum. We have no officials at the meeting or a village attorney. Approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion for approval of the minutes from the last meeting?
I was not at the last meeting. I can't help you out there.
I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Is there any discussion, any comments on the minutes?
No.
Take a roll call, I believe.
Okay.
Commissioner Clarkson?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Abstain.
Commissioner Braun?
Aye.
Commissioner Kirk?
Abstain.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Aye. I do want to clarify, I think, though, that our village attorney at one time did indicate that you did not have to be present at the previous meeting to
That is correct.
vote to approve this. So I just wanted to clarify that, to vote to
Okay,
approve
well,
the
I have
meeting.
not read, well, I didn't thoroughly read over the minutes. I only skimmed them, so.
That's fine. I
If
just,
you can approve, they can be approved without my vote, then
Yeah.
it's fine. Otherwise, I can vote.
yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
We do have a majority of votes, 3 votes
So
of
it's
the
fine.
commissioners present, and so I'll just confirm with the village attorney that that qualifies as a passing vote for the motion.
Right.
Or-
Okay. Visitors, petitions, citizens' requests, and communications.
Do we have any visitors who would like to speak on an item that's not on today's agenda? No? We're just listening. Oh, okay,
Okay.
great. Well, welcome.
Great. So the liaison report?
Yes, thank you. On February 6th, the village board reviewed the commission's recommended text amendments related to garage standards, which we'll be discussing later. Trustee Koss expressed concern that encouraging detached garages would encourage more impervious surface coverage since you need a longer driveway to reach a rear garage. The board directed the PZC to move forward with the public hearing, but asked for feedback from the Preservation Commission, which was included in your packet, and I'll discuss during that item, and for further information from staff regarding what would definitively revoke the village's National Historic Landmark status, and to provide additional context and how the amendments would affect that. The meeting minutes were included as attachment C for the materials of the garage standard text amendments.
Okay. So then, new business.
On to new business.
This is the public hearing to consider various changes to the standards for accessory buildings and garages as set forth in the Riverside zoning ordinance. The petitioner is the Village of Riverside. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing on PZ 25-0001 on text amendments for garage design standards.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Notice of the public hearing was published in the Landmark on February 5th, 2025, and will be marked as an exhibit. The remaining application materials will be marked as a second exhibit. Is there a motion to accept these exhibits?
I move that the commission accept the exhibits.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then Ann?
Thank you. This is a topic that the commission has discussed previously, most recently in November, I believe in February and then December 2024, and then in our January 2025 meeting. So if any of the commissioners would like additional context or information, I'd be happy to go over it about the background. but I'll briefly talk about the most recent activity, which is the feedback from the Board of Trustees. I summarized that during the village update. Effectively, the board had additional questions, but in terms of the text amendments that we're looking at today for the public hearing, they advised that the PZC move forward with a public hearing. The Preservation Commission reviewed the text amendments on February 13. They voted unanimously that the text amendments would not have a negative effect on the National Historic Landmark designation of the village or the general plan of Riverside, which is their purview. They also provided feedback based on the board's discussion. So I said some, I believe it was the majority of the commissioners said the text amendments would reduce the visible impact of garages. One commissioner said that the only solution to address that issue was to require that garages be built behind houses. It was in favor of a moratorium on new front-loaded attached garages, which was a comment that came up when this was discussed by the commission back in 2017, I believe. The commissioners encouraged the village to explore other incentives for rear garages, such as excluding breezeways that connect detached garages to the main house. Currently, because those structures are taller than 1 foot, they would count towards the total building coverage allowed on a property. So the idea was to have some parameters around excluding those from the building coverage to further incentivize new detached garages. And regarding the impact of new houses with front-loaded garages on the village's National Historic Landmark status, Chairperson Pipel said the discussions regarding that issue were informal. There were no written memorandums. There wasn't a mandate saying you must do this. And I think that was captured in the material that there was a discussion back in 2017. I spoke with a representative of the state who was one of the folks who talked to village staff at that time, and said, provided that context, and it was the same context that we gave. There was concern about the number of teardowns in the village, and that there were more teardowns then than there are now. And at that time, the concern was that the new houses that were being built were disproportionately focused on attached front-loaded garages, which was out of character for the village, both architecturally, they felt, and then in terms of the amount of hardscape that would be in street yards that would result from that. So with that, the chairperson said the text amendments go a long way to addressing some of those concerns. Okay. In reviewing the proposed amendments, I just summarized in the staff report that was included in the agenda the different elements of the text amendments, the changes that have been made since we discussed this. Now, we had adopted those definitions. I don't think there were any changes to those during the last meeting. There were no changes to the separation of accessory structures. I did include this language in the text amendments as a follow-up to our discussion on garage door widths. So I'm hoping that you all have had a chance to review that, but this is the recommended language that is in the text amendments. If we have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
A question about what you discussed previously about the breezeways and the Preservation Commission. I'm looking
Yes.
at the minutes right now.
Mhm.
So do you have a resolution of that right now, or is that something
No.
you're simply going to mention to the board?
That is something I'm going to mention to the board.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, but as Commissioner
Liatuvnikas?
Liatuvnikas mentioned, I think there should probably be, if the board goes forward, a limit on the length of the breezeway and the overall square footage, so that you don't get like a big L that basically cuts the lot in half, and also might impact things like rainwater, sheet flow.
If there aren't any questions about the garage door width language that's proposed, I'll move on. I believe this language was the same as proposed the last time we discussed it regarding front-load garage design requirements. And the language regarding the proposed setback has not changed. The language regarding design standards has not changed since the commission reviewed it last. And the language on bonus density is hopefully reflective of what the commission proposed, which is a 400 square foot bonus density for the properties that meet the criteria below, these 3 criteria.
I have a comment also, if this is the
Of course.
appropriate time for
Of course.
subparagraph B. subparagraph B about what was added from last time, which I thought was a very good idea, where you have a remodel. But it doesn't seem, and I don't know if there's anything we can do about this, whether there's no requirement that the remodel eliminate the existing garage doors, eliminate the driveway and the driveway apron and the curb cut. Now, that could be an issue for staff in future when they're approving a permission for a remodel, but I wonder if it would be beneficial to put something in the actual ordinance, if that's allowable, maybe with review by the attorney, to say a remodel, when an existing single-family dwelling unit is being remodeled and a detached garage behind the dwelling unit or an attached rear-loaded garage is constructed in lieu of a previously existing attached front-loaded garage, this bonus is provided conditional upon the existing garage doors being eliminated and the driveway and curb cut being eliminated. So you don't, someone just doesn't remodel, put a garage in the back, and it looks like they basically have a garage in front still because the front load, the big, white expanse of driveway is still there. I'm pretty sure the village would require the curb cut to be removed, but I don't know about the other two elements.
So the garage doors, the code does not address. Presumably, that would be turned into some other type of space in a typical remodel. But in terms of the curb cut and driveway, yes, the village code does require the removal of a curb cut and the removal of a driveway if a new drive and garage is built.
Someone might say, well, we're going to remodel it, but we're going to make that a patio, or we're going to make it a basketball staging area or whatever, and try and get around that. I just wouldn't want, to have someone gets a bonus and they get a new garage in the back, and they basically have not changed the visible impact of their front-loaded garage. That's what I'm concerned about.
Sure. I think the village would have a strong case for arguing that that is a driveway that needs to be removed as a condition of the approval. I don't foresee any problems with that.
Okay.
If someone did want to repurpose an existing driveway into some sort of like basketball court or something, it would need to meet the standards for a basketball court and impervious surface coverage. So they could say, well, we like the location of this, for whatever reason we want to keep it. We have further standards in the code for patios and basketball courts.
Okay.
So this is the extent of the amendments. I'm happy to answer any other questions, but that's, in terms of the staff presentation, those are the materials that I have for you.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
How many tear downs did we have in Riverside over the last couple of years? Compared to how many we had in 2017 when there was more?
That's a great question. I'm trying to remember.
Ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
I feel like on the order of a complete tear down, we've had, in the past couple of years, I think we've had 2, I think.
Okay.
What we've seen, and I can't speak to the 2017 numbers, I'll
Sure.
provide those to the board. What we've seen is a definite trend away from tearing properties down, and instead what I would consider very significant renovations. So a very significant addition, or almost to more than 50% of the value of the house, renovating the house to make it more appropriate for what the families want. So that's the trend that we've seen.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak on this issue?
No, okay. Just checking.
Just making sure.
Sure.
Is there a motion then to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Am I supposed to vote when I have the?
I don't think so. I don't think it's the chair.
Okay, is there any discussion then? The motion passes?
I have one other question that just
Okay.
occurred to me. again, I don't know if this is the right place to, but let's say you have a remodel, like I was just discussing, and someone gets the bonus, okay, and they don't use all their bonus. Does that bonus, like, travel with the house, that's something someone can dip into 5, 10 years later? Or is it a one-time bonus, like a limited time bonus?
It would be specific to that project.
Okay. All right, thanks. I don't have anything else.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, do we want to make a motion to approve the text amendment? Is that where we're at?
You could entertain a motion recommending approval of the text amendments to the village board.
Okay. Do we have a motion to recommend approval of the text amendments as presented?
I move that this commission recommends approval of the text amendments for consideration by the village board.
Second.
Typically, we would review the standards before taking a vote.
Right.
Yes.
We
Thank
didn't
you.
vote yet.
So let's do that.
Okay.
Motion is on the table.
The motion is on the table. So, okay, so we'll go through the standards. To the extent to which the proposed amendment promotes public health, safety, comfort, convenience, and the general welfare of the village.
Yes.
Yes, it definitely does.
The relative gain to the public as compared to the hardship imposed upon the applicant. There's really no hardship to the applicant.
Right.
The consistency of the proposed amendment with village plans.
I would agree with that, definitely.
The consistency of the proposed amendment with the intent and general regulations of this zoning ordinance.
Yes,
I think
agreed.
it's consistent,
Okay.
yeah.
Whether the proposed amendment corrects an error or omission, adds clarification to existing requirements, or reflects a change in policy. It's reflecting a change in policy.
I think it kind of does because of the development of the front-loaded garage attitude design, and so we're reacting to that.
Correct, I would agree.
Okay. That the proposed amendment will benefit the residents of the village as a whole and not just the applicant, property owners, neighbors of any property under consideration, or other special interest groups, and the extent to which the proposed use would be in the public interest and would not serve solely the interest of the applicant. Again, the applicant is, the village, so. Whether the proposed amendment provides a more workable way to achieve the intent and purpose of this zoning ordinance and the village plans. I'm not sure it's applicable. The extent to which the proposed amendment creates nonconformities.
Well, that's taken care of in the proposed language.
And the extent to which the proposed amendment is consistent with the overall structure and organization of the zoning ordinance, which,
It's consistent, yes.
okay,
Would you like me to call roll?
please.
Commissioner Clarkson?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller?
Aye.
Commissioner Braun?
Aye.
Commissioner Kirk?
Aye.
And Commissioner Pelletier?
Aye. Is there any additional discussion?
No.
So the motion passes, carries.
Good job, guys.
The only information I have is that the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting is on Wednesday, March 26th.
26th, okay. So no old business?
No old business.
Oh, okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
No roll call needed.
Nope, all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Oh, really?